We are staring down the barrel of an opportunity that simply does not happen every off-season. The tension in Las Vegas has boiled over into a full-blown crisis, and if our front office is paying attention, they could secure the most dominant defensive weapon we have seen in a generation. The Max Crosby era in Vegas might be over, and the door is wide open for us to strike. Welcome back to the channel, the #1 spot for real, unfiltered talk about the team we love. Before we unpack this absolute bombshell of a story, I need you to do one thing for me right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you are the first to know when the news breaks. We need to have a serious conversation about the state of this franchise and the rumors swirling around Max Crosby. This isn't just smoke anymore. There is a fire burning in the desert, and we need to be the ones to put it out by bringing him home. Let's set the stage, because the drama that has unfolded over the last week is honestly hard to believe. It all started to unravel on December 23rd. You had reporters asking Crosby about the fans, the people in the stands, talking about tanking for the #1 pick. Now, most players would give you a generic, PR-friendly answer. They'd say, "Oh, we just focus on the next game." Not Max Crosby. He looked that reporter dead in the eye and essentially said, "I don't care about a pick. I don't play for that." He made it crystal clear that his job is to be the best defensive end in the world, every single day. He put the burden of tanking on the front office and the coaches. He basically said, "If they want to lose, that's on them. My job is to wreck the game." That level of fire? That level of competitive arrogance? That is exactly what has been missing from our locker room. But the story didn't end there. In fact, that was just the spark that lit the fuse. The day after Christmas, Jay Glazer, who is arguably the most connected insider in the game right now, dropped a massive report. He revealed that the Raiders actually went to Max Crosby and told him they wanted to shut him down for the last 2 games of the season. They wanted to park their Ferrari in the garage to protect their draft position. And how did Crosby react? Glazer reported that he vehemently disagreed and actually left the building. He stormed out. That is a man who loves football too much to be part of a losing culture. The Raiders then went into damage control mode. They released this long, corporate statement claiming they placed him on injured reserve for any injury after deliberate and thorough consultation with medical professionals. They called him a warrior, thanked him for his contributions, and said it was in the best interest of the franchise. It sounded nice on paper, right? Well, Max Crosby wasn't having it. Almost immediately after the team claimed he was too hurt to play, Crosby hopped on Instagram. He wasn't in a hospital bed. He wasn't icing his knee. He was in his home gym, jumping on a trampoline and draining fadeaway three-pointers like he was Steph Curry. He looked explosive. He looked athletic. He looked absolutely fine. Does he have bumps and bruises? Of course. It's the NFL. Everyone is hurt by the end of the season. But let's be real with each other for a second. If the Raiders were in the playoff hunt, if that game mattered, Max Crosby would be on the field. He plays through everything. The only reason he is sitting is because the organization gave up on the season, and he refused to be a part of that mentality. This friction is real. The disconnect between a player who wants to conquer the world and a franchise that is comfortable losing is massive. And that brings us to the harsh reality of his career right now. Max Crosby is going to be 29 years old next season. He is entering the absolute prime of his life. He has established himself as a force of nature, a 4th-round pick out of Eastern Michigan who outworked everyone to become a superstar. But look at his situation. The Raiders are a mess. They have no quarterback, they have major coaching questions, and they are playing in a division they have no hope of winning anytime soon. Why would he want to stay? Why would he waste these precious years of his prime rebuilding a team that has shown no ability to get it right? He is playing 90% of the defensive snaps, a number that is unheard of for defensive linemen. Most elite rushers play 70%, maybe 80% if it's a big game. Crosby never leaves the field. He is carrying that defense on his back, and they are repaying him by tanking. It is a tragedy to watch a talent like that rot on a losing roster. But one team's dysfunction is another team's opportunity. We have to look at this selfishly. We have a need, and he is the solution. This leads me to the big question: the one that is going to define our entire offseason discussion. I want you to really think about this before you answer. Here is the question of the day. If the Raiders demand 2 first-round draft picks for Maxx Crosby, do you pull the trigger? Type Y for yes, or N for no in the comments right now. I want to see where the fanbase stands on this. While you guys are debating that in the comments, let's break down why this makes so much sense for us. We have to be honest about our own team. We all want to be optimistic, but we know the weakness. It is the defensive line. We simply do not scare opposing quarterbacks enough. We have spent money, sure. We brought in Montez Sweat, and don't get me wrong, I like Montez. But I have said it before, and I will say it again, Montez Sweat is like a number 2 starter in a pitching rotation. He is a great Robin, but he isn't Batman. When you need a sack in the 4th quarter to close out a game, can you guarantee he is going to get home? We saw him disappear in the San Francisco game. He was a non-factor. That is a problem when you are paying a guy $24 or $25 million a year. Maxx Crosby is a different animal entirely. He doesn't take plays off. He doesn't disappear. He is elite against the run, and he is elite rushing the passer. He is the kind of player who changes the geometry of the field just by lining up. Imagine pairing him with the guys we already have. It would take the pressure off everyone else. The secondary would play better because the quarterback has less time. The linebackers would be free to roam because Crosby is setting the edge. It lifts the entire defense. Now, I know what the skeptics are screaming at their screens right now. But the money! We can't afford him. The salary cap is tight. Let me stop you right there. That is a myth. The cap hell narrative is overblown. Yes, we are projected to be tight against the cap right now, maybe barely in the green. But in the NFL, the salary cap is flexible. It is manipulatable. We have so many levers we can pull to open up the vault. Look at the contracts we have on the books. We have Tremaine Edmonds entering a massive year of his deal. You can extend him, trade him, or restructure him. We have Dayo Odeyingbo making $16 million a year, and he is coming off a torn Achilles. That is a massive number for a guy who isn't a superstar. You have options there. We have players like Jalen Johnson or even offensive linemen who we know are going to be here long term. You restructure those deals, push some money down the road, and suddenly you have $30 or $40 million in space. It takes 2 or 3 moves. It is not rocket science, it is just basic cap management. And when you look at Maxx Crosby's actual contract, it is a bargain. I'm serious. His cap hit this year is around $30.8 million. If you trade for him, the numbers for the next few years are approximately $29 million, $27 million, and $28 million. Think about that. We are paying Montez Sweat around $25 million. Are you telling me you wouldn't pay an extra $3 or $4 million a year to upgrade from a good player to a Hall of Fame caliber player? It is a no-brainer. The market for defensive ends is exploding. Nick Bosa is making massive money. Micah Parsons is about to reset the market. Getting Maxx Crosby for under $30 million a year is theft. It is a contract that actually looks better the longer it goes on. And the best part? After 2027, there is an out in the deal. So if his body starts to break down, you aren't trapped forever. It is a low-risk, high-reward financial move. So the money works. The need is there. The player is unhappy. The only remaining hurdle is the trade compensation. What do we have to give up to get him? We have to look at history. Remember the Micah Parsons rumors? Before he got hurt, there was talk that it would take 2 first-round picks and a player like Kenny Clark to pry him away. That is a steep price. But Parsons is younger than Crosby. He has less wear and tear. So, logically, Crosby should cost slightly less than that. If the Raiders are asking for 2 first-round picks, I admit, that is a tough pill to swallow. I love our draft picks. I love building through the draft. But draft picks are lottery tickets. Maxx Crosby is a winning ticket that you can cash in immediately. If you can get him for a first-round pick and a second-round pick, you do it without hesitation. If you can get him for a first, a third, and a decent player, you drive that player to the airport yourself. Even if it does cost 2 first-round picks, you have to ask yourself, are we in a window to win? If you believe this team is ready to contend, then you make the move. The Rams did it. They traded picks for Jalen Ramsey, for Matthew Stafford, for Von Miller. And they won a Super Bowl. Sometimes you have to stop hugging your draft picks and go get the blue-chip talent. The Raiders are in a full rebuild. They need volume. They need as many picks as possible to find a quarterback and a coach. It makes sense for them to move on. They free up cash, they get draft capital, and they start fresh. It makes sense for Crosby because he goes to a team that is ready to win now. And it makes sense for us because he is the missing piece. I look at our defensive line depth, and it scares me. We have rookies trying to find their way. We have guys coming off injuries. We have rotational pieces playing starting minutes. That doesn't work in January. You need stars. You need closers. Max Crosby is a closer. I genuinely believe this is a realistic scenario. I know it sounds like a dream, but the friction in Vegas is real. The players' unhappiness is real. And our need is real. It is a perfect storm. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know if you are as all in on this as I am. Are you tired of watching good enough defense? Do you want to see a defense that strikes fear into the hearts of the rest of the league? Because that is what is on the table here. We are going to be tracking this story relentlessly. As soon as there is an update, as soon as a source leaks something new, we will have a video up. So make sure you are locked in. That is going to wrap it up for this edition. This is going to be a long, crazy offseason, and I have a feeling the Max Crosby saga is just getting started. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. We are closing in on a huge subscriber milestone, and I want you to be a part of it. Leave your comments below, let your voice be heard, and let's manifest this trade into existence. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.